The world fades into stillness as you begin to drift. The vanished civilizations of the ancient world. The flow of time. The night unfolds like a soft breath of the earth, calm and infinite. The air carries no weight, only the scent of stillness and the quiet hum of distant stars. You are here, between the rhythm of the ocean and the silence of the sky, drifting slowly into a space where time forgets to move. Each breath becomes lighter, each thought dissolves like mist, fading into the early dawn. The world outside grows dim, and only peace remains. Close your eyes. Feel the ground beneath you, cool and steady. The heartbeat of the planet moves in harmony with your own. The breeze brushes against your skin, soft as a memory. You are no longer separate from the world. You are a ripple in its endless tide, carried effortlessly through the vastness of being. Above you, the stars shimmer in gentle rhythm, each one a quiet witness to the stories of countless lives that have come and gone. Their light has traveled across ages just to reach you now, to remind you that even the smallest spark endures within eternity. Listen to the slow whisper of the wind moving through the trees. It tells stories older than any word, older than sound itself. The rustle of leaves, the hush of waves, the soft thud of your heartbeat, all blend into a single, soothing rhythm. You are surrounded by the breath of creation, and it moves gently through you. There is no hurry here, no noise, no demands, no remembering. Only this moment, this slow unfolding of quiet existence. Let go of everything you carried today. Let your mind release the heavy thoughts that cling like dust. They are not needed where you are going. In this stillness, you belong only to the present, the boundless, breathing now. The night sky holds you as the earth hums below. Every cell, every breath, every beat aligns with the great pulse of the universe. The stars don't hurry to shine. The river doesn't rush to the sea. Everything flows, everything arrives exactly when it should. The moon glows softly above the horizon, spreading its silver calm across the darkened world. You can almost hear it hum, a low, timeless sound that soothes the heart and quiets the mind. The world has not ended, it simply sleeps. The fields rest, the waves stretch, the trees sway gently as if dreaming. The universe breathes in harmony with you, one long, endless exhale. You are safe. You are home. Every breath now feels like a thread, weaving you deeper into the quiet tapestry of the night. Your body grows light, your spirit softer. Thoughts become distant echoes fading into the wind. You no longer think, you drift. You no longer move, you flow. The distinction between yourself and the world melts away until only stillness remains. And in that stillness, time begins to blur. The seconds lose their edges, the minutes dissolve, and you sense something greater, an invisible current that connects all things. The mountains, the rivers, the stars, the forgotten ruins beneath layers of dust, they all breathe with the same rhythm. You are part of that rhythm, part of the song that never ends. The melody is not loud, it hums softly beneath everything, an ancient lullaby that carries your soul through the quiet corridor of eternity. As you float within that sound, your heart begins to slow. You sink deeper into peace, wrapped in the whisper of wind and shadow. There is nothing left to do, nowhere to go, nothing to change. Just the gentle drift through time's calm ocean. The night folds around you like silk. The stars fade softly behind your eyelids. Sleep waits, kind and patient, holding the promise of dreams untouched by noise or fear. Now, as the silence deepens, you feel the faint murmur of history stirring beneath the quiet earth. Beneath the soil, beneath the oceans, beneath forgotten sands, countless stories rest, silent, patient, and eternal. Civilizations once breathed here, their laughter echoing through valleys, their cities shimmering beneath the same stars that shine above you now. They rose, flourished, and faded, leaving only whispers in the wind. You can almost sense them. The builders of stone, the dreamers of stars, the voices that spoke to the river and the sky. Their traces linger in the air, woven into the dust of time. As you drift further into stillness, the boundaries of centuries fade. You step gently into the current of memory, carried backward through the endless flow of time. No grand noise marks this journey. Only the rhythm of your breathing, the pulse of the earth, and the hum of ages unfolding. Let them guide you past the dawns of forgotten worlds, into the quiet beauty of what once was. This is where our story begins. A soft remembrance of the vanished civilizations of the ancient world. The night settles like a sigh across the desert. The air is still, warm and heavy with the scent of ancient dust. Somewhere far away, the wind hums softly through the dunes, moving grains of sand that have slept here for thousands of years. Beneath this vast and quiet sky, buried in layers of time, lies the memory of the first great city. A city born beside two wandering rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Once, long before the world had names for things, before borders and nations, before the noise of engines or the glow of electric light, there were the Sumerians. They rose with the sun and rested beneath the stars, their days marked not by hours, but by the rhythm of the river. They were the first to gather in great numbers, to build, to write, to dream of permanence in a world that always changed. If you listen closely, you can almost hear them still. The gentle murmur of voices, the sound of water lapping against clay banks, the distant echo of hammers shaping bricks of earth. The city they built shimmered in the desert heat, its towers of mud and stone reflecting the light of dawn. It was called Uruk, the beating heart of a civilization that would teach the world how to remember. The Sumerians shaped their words in clay, pressing symbols with delicate reeds. These marks, wedge-shaped, simple, yet profound, carried their thoughts through time. They wrote of harvests, of stars, of gods that watched from above. But tonight there are no gods, no kings, no noise, only the quiet trace of their touch resting in the earth. Each tablet, each symbol, whispers a fragment of their existence, a soft pulse beneath centuries of silence. The rivers were their lifeblood. The Tigris and Euphrates wound like silver threads through the plains, their waters bringing both life and destruction. When the floods came, the people rejoiced, for the land would bloom again. When the waters failed, the soil cracked, and the air filled with dust. Still the Sumerians endured, adapting to each turn of nature's hand. They learned to coax abundance from the mud, to measure the heavens for signs of rain, to weave their survival into the rhythm of the earth itself. Now as you breathe slowly, imagine walking through those streets. Narrow lanes, shaded by walls of baked clay. The air is warm but gentle, carrying the scent of grain and river water. You hear the soft rhythm of footsteps, the faint laughter of children chasing shadows in the dust. The marketplace hums, not with noise, but with life's quiet pulse. Potters shaping vessels, farmers trading barley, scribes etching the day's accounts. The city moves like a living organism, each heartbeat a sign of harmony between human hands and nature's breath. And yet, even in its calm, time continues to flow. Seasons pass, rulers change, the rivers shift their course. The land that once nourished becomes restless. The floods grow harsher, the rains more distant. The same waters that gave life begin to take it away. Fields turn barren, and the once green valleys fade into tones of gold and grey. But the people do not cry out, they do not rage against the sky, they simply endure, planting, building, hoping. There is grace in their quiet persistence, a lesson whispered to us through the centuries that creation and loss are not enemies but partners in the dance of existence. The Sumerians left behind no loud farewell. There was no great fire, no sudden ruin. Their cities did not crumble overnight. They simply exhaled slowly into the dust. The rivers shifted, leaving their banks dry. The wind swept through empty courtyards, carrying the last traces of laughter away. And the desert, patient and kind, covered everything with sand. Now, when archaeologists brush away the layers of time, they find only echoes. A tablet here, a fragment of pottery there, the faint imprint of a reed on ancient clay. Each discovery is a whisper from the deep past, reminding us that even the greatest civilizations eventually return to silence. Yet it is a gentle silence, not one of loss, but of rest. Close your eyes for a moment and picture it, the vast plain of Mesopotamia stretching out before you. The horizon glows faintly under a setting sun. The rivers shimmer like veins of light across the land. Somewhere beneath your feet lie the bones of cities, the thoughts of men and women who once dreamed beneath the same stars that shine above you now. Their breath is the wind, their memories are the dust, their stories flow within the river's endless current. The desert is quiet, but it is not empty. Beneath the silence, life continues. Small roots pushing through sand, the faint movement of water deep underground. The world never truly forgets. It only sleeps. As you lie here listening, let yourself drift with the same rhythm. Imagine the slow turning of the earth beneath you, the quiet pulse of life that has never ceased. Every breath you take is connected to the same air those ancient people once breathed. The molecules of their fires, their songs, their sighs still wander through the sky, touching your skin with invisible threads. Time does not destroy, it transforms. What was once city becomes sand, what was once voice becomes echo, what was once life becomes the soil that nourishes new beginnings. In this way, the Sumerians never truly vanished. They became part of the Earth's long dream. The ruins of Ur, of Eridu, of Lagash still stand beneath the moon, their shapes softened by centuries of wind. When the night deepens and the world grows still, it almost feels as though the city might breathe again. The river returning to its path, the lamps flickering to life, the air humming with quiet work. But then the vision fades, leaving only the steady whisper of sand moving through the dark. Perhaps this is the true legacy of Sumer. Not the inventions they created, not the records they wrote, but the way they remind us that all things belong to time. Just as rivers carve their paths and eventually return to the sea, every civilization flows through its own cycle: birth, bloom, decline, and rest. There is no tragedy in this, only peace. The story of the Sumerians is not a warning, it is a lullaby. So as the night deepens around you, feel the slow exhale of history passing through your dreams. Let it soothe you. Let it carry you to that quiet place where the noise of the world fades away and only the rhythm of the earth remains. You are lying where they once stood, breathing the same air, listening to the same stars. The universe hums softly in the distance, a low, eternal note that sings of continuity, not loss. The city beneath the sand sleeps, but its song still lingers. And tonight, that song becomes your own. The river flows quietly through your mind, carrying the fragments of memory, of stone, of silence. You drift along its current, weightless and calm, until you become part of it. The flow of time itself, endless, serene, and at peace. Sleep now, gentle traveler. The past holds you like an old friend. The sand beneath you is warm. The stars above are watching. The wind tells the same story it has told for thousands of years. A story without end, a story without sorrow. Only the soft truth remains, that nothing is ever truly lost. It only changes form, waiting quietly to be found again. The silent valley, the Indus civilization. The night drifts slowly across the valley. The air is cool and still, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and river water. Somewhere in the distance, a soft breeze moves through the reeds, brushing gently against the banks of a river that once shaped the lives of millions. Beneath this starlit sky, silent and eternal, lies the memory of an ancient world. The world of the Indus civilization. Once, long ago, when the air was heavy with summer rain and the rivers swelled with life, great cities stood here, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Their streets were straight and wide, their homes built with care, their drains clean and quiet. The people rose with the dawn and rested with the night, their lives flowing like water through the rhythm of the seasons. There were no kings carved in stone, no great temples towering above the earth, no armies marching in the dust, only balance, harmony, and a sense of peace. Imagine walking there now. The streets are cool beneath your feet, paved with bricks shaped by steady hands. The walls rise in calm symmetry, each one marked with simple beauty. You hear the distant sound of flowing water, the hum of daily life, potters shaping clay, weavers pulling silk through their looms, children laughing softly in the shade of mud brick homes. The city breathes gently, without hurry, without noise. It is not a kingdom of conquest, but of quiet order. Above, the sky stretches wide and blue. The river glimmers like a ribbon of silver, winding between fields of grain. Oxen move slowly under the sun, their bells chiming like distant songs. Birds circle above the rooftops, their wings catching the light. In the heart of the city, a well gushes cool water, its echo mingling with laughter and soft conversation. Life moves not in leaps, but in small, graceful circles, planting, harvesting, resting, beginning again. The people of the Indus knew how to live with the earth, not against it. Their homes were built with thought for wind and rain, their streets aligned with the stars, their granaries held enough to share. Every brick, every drain, every step of daily life carried the quiet intelligence of a people who understood that beauty can exist in simplicity. They measured not power, but balance, not wealth, but peace. Now as you listen, let your mind slow to their rhythm. The city is calm, the sky is endless, the scent of wet earth and firewood fills the air. Somewhere a mother hums to her child, a potter sets his last vessel to dry in the sun. A priest, simple and kind, watches the horizon fade into evening light. No drums of war, no cries of fear, only the hush of wind through open courtyards. Night falls softly over Harappa. The lamps are lit, small flames flickering against the clay walls. The city glows like a constellation resting gently on the earth. Smoke rises from hearths where families share quiet meals. Laughter, low and tender, mingles with the sound of river water flowing beyond the walls. The stars above mirror the lamps below, as though heaven and earth have become one. And then, over time, the rhythm begins to change. The rains come later. The river grows restless, shifting its path, carving new courses through the plain. Seasons pass more harshly. The soil dries, the fields grow weary. The people, still calm, adapt as long as they can. They mend their wells, dig deeper, move closer to where the water still breathes. But nature, in her quiet certainty, decides to move on. There is no chaos, no fall, no ruin, just a slow exhale. Families gather what they can, lifting baskets, leading cattle, taking one last look at the walls they built with care. They walk away in silence, toward the east, toward the unknown. The cities remain empty but unbroken. Their streets hold the imprint of bare feet. Their wells still shimmer faintly in the moonlight. The wind passes through gentle as ever, carrying whispers of those who came before. Centuries later, when travelers crossed this land again, the cities were already asleep. The sands had covered the doorways, the wells had grown shallow, the river had wandered elsewhere. Only the birds remained, nesting in the hollow windows, their songs echoing softly through the ruins. The silence was complete, not mournful, but serene, like the pause between breaths. Archaeologists would come one day, brushing away the dust, holding the small artifacts that time had spared. A bead, a pot, a seal carved with the shape of a bull. From these fragments, they would try to imagine the people who once lived here. They would wonder how such harmony could vanish without sound. But the answer is simple, and it whispers even now: nothing truly disappears. It simply changes form. The civilization of the Indus did not fall, it drifted. Like mist in the morning sun, it lifted, light and graceful, blending into the air of time. Its people became part of new lands, new rivers, new rhythms. The language may have faded, the bricks may have crumbled, but the quiet spirit of that valley lives on. In the patience of the farmer, in the calm of the artisan, in the stillness of night. Close your eyes. Feel the cool breath of the Indus wind against your skin. The stars are brighter here, untouched by smoke or noise. The river hums beneath the surface, a deep, slow current, carrying centuries in its flow. You can almost hear the faint murmur of voices, not calling, not crying, but speaking softly to the earth. We were here. We lived. We loved. We rested. The moon rises higher, painting the ruins in silver light. The walls stand like guardians of memory, their edges softened by time. Sand drifts quietly across the courtyards, filling the spaces once alive with laughter. The city sleeps, but it does not dream of loss, only of peace. And you, drifting between wakefulness and sleep, become part of that peace. Your breath aligns with the rhythm of the river. Your heart slows to match the turning of the stars. The worries of the world slip away, melting like fog over ancient fields. There is no past or present here, only the soft, eternal now. Time, like water, continues to flow. It touches the stones, the ruins, the soil, and carries them forward, grain by grain, into tomorrow. What once was life becomes memory. What once was memory becomes earth. And from that earth, new life always rises. The Indus taught this lesson long ago, that everything, even silence, is part of creation. So rest now. Feel the gentle pulse of history beneath you, the heartbeat of a civilization that knew how to live in balance with the world. Let its calm seep into your bones. You are lying where they once walked, breathing the same air, watching the same stars. The wind that moved their sails now stirs the leaves outside your window. The song of the river still flows, endless and serene. Sleep, traveler of time. The valley holds you softly. The river cradles your thoughts. The stars whisper above you, ancient and kind. The story of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro continues not in ruins or records, but in the peace that fills this moment. The silence that asks for nothing and gives everything. Beneath the quiet of the desert sky, the Indus breathes once more, slow, deep, eternal. And as you drift into sleep, you too become part of its flow, dissolving gently into the great river of time. Across the ocean, the Maya civilization. The night moves slowly over the vast green canopy of Central America. The jungle breathes alive with 1,000 soft sounds, the distant call of an unseen bird, the rustle of leaves under the touch of wind, the hum of creatures that have never known the noise of cities. Somewhere deep within this endless forest, beneath vines and roots and centuries of soil, lie the bones of ancient stone. Pyramids and temples rise from the green earth like dreams made solid, their edges softened by moss, their steps swallowed by time. This is the land of the Maya, the quiet kingdom of stars and stone. Before the jungle reclaimed its dominion, the Maya built cities that touched the sky. Tall pyramids stretched toward the heavens, their peaks catching the first light of dawn. Observatories aligned perfectly with the movements of the planets. Every structure, every street, every carving followed the rhythm of the universe. They read the heavens not for conquest, but for understanding, to measure the flow of time, the breath of the sun, the dance of the moon. Imagine standing among them long ago. The air is warm, thick with the scent of rain and blooming orchids. The sound of drums echoes softly through the plaza. Torches flicker in the twilight, painting golden light upon carved walls. The people move with quiet grace, their clothing woven from bright threads, their voices calm, their eyes lifted often to the sky. They do not rush, they live as the forest lives, slow, rhythmic, balanced. In the early mornings, mist drifts through the trees like breath from the earth. Farmers walk the narrow paths to their fields, carrying tools carved from wood and stone. The ground is dark and rich, the gift of generations. In the markets, traders lay out jade and cacao, salt and honey, feathers bright as sunrise. Children laugh in the shade, their joy as soft as the wings of butterflies. Priests trace symbols on bark paper books, recording not power but knowledge, the movement of Venus, the turning of seasons, the stories of gods who were not far away, but close, woven into the wind and the rain. The Maya saw no divide between themselves and the world around them. The jungle was not their enemy. It was their mother. The rivers were her veins, the mountains her bones, the stars her eyes. They built in harmony with this living world, never against it. When they raised their cities, they listened first to the whispers of the earth, to know where water would flow, where the wind would sing. Their architecture breathed with the land, welcoming both sunlight and shadow. Now, as you breathe slowly, picture the great city of Tikal beneath a sky of silver clouds. Its temples rise above the treetops, glowing pale in the moonlight. The jungle stretches endlessly beyond, a sea of green shimmering under the stars. From here, the world feels infinite. You can hear the faint rustle of palms, the low hum of frogs by the water, the quiet sigh of the wind as it moves through the stones. Time, for the Maya, was not a straight path, but a circle. The past never truly vanished. It returned, like the seasons, like the moon. They watched these cycles with wonder and patience, understanding that every ending is a beginning waiting to unfold. Perhaps that is why, when their world began to change, they did not resist. They simply followed the rhythm, as they always had. The forests around them began to thin. Trees fell to feed the fires of growth, to build, to clear the fields. The rains grew hesitant, the rivers shallow. The sun pressed harder upon the earth. The soil, once dark and generous, grew tired. Slowly, the green that had given them life began to fade. Yet the people remained gentle in their ways. They prayed not for dominion, but for balance to return. In time, the balance shifted again. Crops failed, and water grew scarce. Families packed their baskets and left their homes behind. The cities emptied one by one, not with screams but with silence. The jungle, patient and eternal, stretched its arms back over the land. Roots wound through stone, birds built nests atop pyramids, rain carved patterns on the walls once painted by human hands. Nature exhaled, and the forest reclaimed its breath. There was no great collapse, no thunderous fall. It was simply a quiet return, the people dissolving back into the rhythm of the earth that had always held them. Some moved to smaller villages near rivers that still sang. Others drifted into the highlands carrying their language, their stories, their spirit. The Maya did not disappear. They transformed. Like mist rising from the forest floor, they became part of everything. Now, centuries later, when explorers cut their way through the dense green, they find the city still there, asleep beneath the vines. Moss-covered stairways lead to temples that pierce the clouds. Carvings of serpents and suns still watch over the silent plazas. The jungle has not destroyed them. It has protected them, wrapping each stone in layers of life. Birds call from the towers, their songs echoing through the ancient corridors. The air feels sacred, heavy with memory. Close your eyes and breathe with the forest. The pulse of the earth matches your heartbeat. The same air that once carried incense and song now fills your lungs. The same stars that guided their calendars shimmer above you still. You are walking not through ruins, but through a living dream, one where time and nature are the same. The trees bend gently, as if to whisper welcome. The ground beneath your feet hums softly, the rhythm of an ancient heart still beating. The Maya's wisdom was not lost. It was written into the soil, into the stars. Their understanding of time and the heavens lives on in every sunrise, in the endless renewal of the world. They taught that life is a circle, that what fades will rise again, and that peace lies not in holding on, but in letting go. As you listen to the soft breath of the jungle, feel that truth within yourself. You are not separate from this world. You are the same quiet rhythm, the same slow unfolding. The earth beneath you turns gently, carrying you through the dark toward morning. The sound of your breathing blends with the sigh of the forest. Together, you and the world exhale. Night deepens. The stars shimmer through the canopy like distant embers. The ruins glow faintly in their light. Insects hum a steady song, ancient, familiar, eternal. The air is warm, wrapping you in invisible arms. You can almost feel the world leaning closer, whispering the same lullaby the Maya once knew. Nothing is lost. Nothing ends. Everything returns. Let that whisper guide you now. Let the noise of modern life fade behind you like footsteps in the sand. The worries that cling to daylight melt away in the breath of the forest. There is no striving here, no need to be anything but still. The wind moves softly across your face, carrying the scent of rain and earth and flowers blooming unseen. The night is infinite, yet kind. In the quiet rhythm of this place, sleep comes naturally, not as escape, but as return. The same return the Maya made long ago when they stepped gently away from their cities and back into the embrace of the wild. You are following their path now, back into unity with the world that made you. So rest. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts dissolve into the song of the forest. The pyramids rise around you, their stones breathing softly in the dark. The trees sway above, their leaves shimmering like 1,000 whispered prayers. The stars drift across the sky, patient and ancient. And the jungle, vast and alive, cradles you as it once cradled them. You are safe here. You are part of the same endless circle. Life, loss, renewal, peace. The story of the Maya continues in every heartbeat of the earth. Listen to it. Feel it. Drift within it. The night hums with history, but not with sorrow. It sings softly of balance, of time, of the beauty of returning to where all things begin. You breathe in that song, and it becomes your own. The world exhales, the stars fade gently, and sleep, warm and deep, welcomes you back. To the quiet heart of the jungle, to the rhythm of eternity, to the peace that has always been waiting. The island of statues, Rapa Nui. The ocean stretches endlessly beneath the moon. Its waves move like breathing, slow and deep, folding into one another with a sound softer than sleep. Far out across this vast expanse, there lies a small island, solitary, distant, and quiet. It rises from the blue like a whisper, a dream cradled in water and wind. This is Rapa Nui, the island of statues. The night air here is gentle, carrying the scent of salt and earth. The palms sway slowly under a sky filled with stars, their fronds brushing one another like fingertips. The waves murmur against the rocks, never rushing, never stopping, only whispering their eternal lullaby. And standing along the coast as if guarding both land and sea are the Moai, tall, solemn, and still. Their stone faces look toward the horizon, toward the place where ocean meets sky. Once, long ago, this island was alive with laughter and work, with songs and stories told by the firelight. The people of Rapa Nui lived in harmony with the sea and the forest. They fished from canoes carved by hand, gathered fruits from the trees, and watched the tides as one might watch the rhythm of the heart. The land provided, and they cared for it as if it were a living being, because to them it was. Each morning the sun rose like gold spilling over the ocean, and the island glowed. The cliffs caught the light, the grass shimmered, and the people began their day with calm purpose. They built homes from stone and reed, tended their crops and sang as they worked. Children chased seabirds along the shore. Elders watched the changing colors of the water and spoke of ancestors who had come from across the waves, guided by stars and courage. In those times, Rapa Nui was covered in trees, tall palms and thick forests that reached down to the coast. The people used the wood to build, to cook, to create. And from the volcanic rock of the island, they began to carve the Moai, the statues that would watch over them for centuries. Imagine it, the soft rhythm of chisels against stone, the sound of waves not far away, the murmur of voices as one figure after another took shape. Each Moai bore the features of an ancestor, not just a face, but a memory, a spirit carved into the earth itself. When they stood upright on the Ahu, the sacred platforms near the sea, it was said that the mana, the life force of the ancestors, would flow through them, watching over the living. There was no haste in their creation. The islanders worked slowly with patience and reverence. Each statue was a prayer, a promise, a whisper to the stars, and as they rose one after another, they transformed the island into a place unlike any other, a place where stone and soul were one. As time moved quietly forward, life continued in balance. The sea gave fish, the soil gave crops, the trees gave shelter. The people lived by the cycles of the moon and tide, trusting the world around them. But nature, as always, changes. Little by little, the forest thinned. The trees, once countless, grew fewer. The soil grew tired. The rains became less certain. The island, small and delicate, began to feel the strain of its own beauty. The people of Rapa Nui, wise and resourceful, adapted as they could. They found new ways to fish, new crops to plant, new methods to live with what remained. But even as they worked, the landscape changed. The hills grew bare. The wind carried more dust. The earth, once rich with green, began to rest. There were no great wars, no grand collapse, only the quiet fading of abundance. The people drifted toward the edges of the island, closer to the sea that had always cared for them. The forests did not vanish in a day. They whispered their farewells over generations. Life became slower, quieter, simpler. And through it all, the Moai remained. They watched in silence as the seasons changed, as the grass replaced the trees, as the songs of the people softened. Their stone eyes gazed toward the horizon, unblinking, eternal. They did not judge or mourn. They simply existed, witnesses to time, to change, to endurance. Even now, when the night is calm and the sea gentle, it feels as though the statues breathe. Their stillness is not emptiness, but peace. The moonlight glides across their faces, painting them silver. The ocean murmurs below, carrying stories across endless miles of water. You can almost hear the island speaking, not in words, but in rhythm, in the soft pulse of waves and wind. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing there, barefoot on the cool grass. The wind wraps around you like a soft cloak. The sea hums at your side. Above you, 1,000 stars shimmer like sparks from an unseen fire. The Moai rise from the earth around you, tall and patient, guardians of silence. You feel the weight of history, not as burden, but as calm, a reminder that all things, even loss, become part of the great rhythm of life. The people of Rapa Nui never truly vanished. Their language, their blood, their stories live on in the descendants who still call the island home. The Moai remain as their promise that the connection between earth, sea and spirit never fades. Time may pass, the forests may fall, but the bond endures quiet and strong. The island rests now in deep peace. Grass grows where trees once stood. The waves continue their slow, eternal dance against the rocks. Birds cry softly in the distance, their calls mingling with the hush of wind through stone. Everything moves, yet nothing is lost. The Moai still face the horizon, waiting, watching, dreaming. As you listen, let your breathing match the rhythm of the ocean, slow, gentle, steady. Inhale the salt air. Exhale the world beyond. Feel your thoughts drift away like clouds across the sea. There is no hurry here, no noise, no demand. Only the calm that the island has known for centuries. The night deepens. The stars tilt slowly westward. The sea glows faintly, reflecting their light. The statues seem to shimmer in the distance, their outlines soft against the sky. You realize that their silence is not absence, but presence, a kind of eternal patience that belongs only to those who understand time. The world beyond the island fades now, its weight falling away like sand through fingers. You are surrounded by water, by wind, by stillness. The earth beneath you hums with life older than memory. The Moai stand as witnesses to your rest, guardians of your dreams. The sea's whisper becomes your lullaby. Sleep comes easily here. The island holds you gently, the way it has held every traveler who arrived in wonder. You drift between waking and dreaming, between ocean and sky. The waves continue their quiet song and your heartbeat joins them, a rhythm as old as the tide. In this place there is no past or future, no striving or sorrow. There is only the moment, vast, timeless, and kind. The wind sighs softly through the grass. The ocean breathes, the Moai stand eternal, eyes fixed on the horizon that never ends, and you, resting now, are part of their stillness. The night closes its arms around you, tender and endless. The stars gleam faintly above, and the world dissolves into calm. You are safe, small as a whisper, vast as the sea. The ocean carries you gently into sleep, over the waves of memory beyond the noise of life, into the heart of quiet eternity. And somewhere, on that distant island surrounded by blue, the statues continue their watch, silent, patient, eternal, keepers of the dream that all things in the end return to peace. The Empire in the Mist, Minoans and Mycenaeans. The sea rests quietly beneath a pale sky. Waves roll toward the shore with a rhythm older than memory, breaking softly against the rocks of Crete. The air is warm, touched by the salt of the Mediterranean, carrying the faint scent of thyme and wind-blown sand. Above the horizon, the sun begins its slow descent, painting the water in shades of gold and rose. In this calm light, time loosens its hold, and the past begins to breathe again. Long ago, before the world spoke of empires or kings, there was an island where beauty and harmony ruled. Crete, the jewel of the Aegean, was home to the Minoans, a people who danced with the sea. Their cities shone beneath the sun, their walls painted with dolphins, lilies, and the soft curve of human grace. Their palaces were open to the wind, filled with color and laughter. There was no hunger for conquest, only for creation. Imagine walking through the great palace of Knossos at dawn. The air is cool and still. Columns of red and black rise from polished floors, their surfaces gleaming faintly in the morning light. Frescoes shimmer on the walls. Women gathering saffron, boys leaping over bulls, dolphins weaving through blue waves. Everywhere there is motion, yet everything feels at peace. The sound of sandals on stone echoes softly down the corridors, mingling with the far-off murmur of the sea. The Minoans understood the language of water. They built their homes and temples in harmony with the tide. They traded across the waves, their ships gliding like birds over the blue expanse, carrying olive oil, wine, and painted pottery to distant shores. From Egypt to Anatolia, their craftsmanship was known, their art admired. They lived between worlds, not of war, but of wonder. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. The waves beyond the palace seem to whisper their story. The rhythm of sails unfurling, the creak of wooden hulls, the laughter of sailors who trusted the stars to guide them. The sea was not their barrier. It was their home. Every voyage was a song of connection, every port a verse in a long and gentle poem. Their life moved with the seasons. Spring brought blooming fields and festivals of renewal. Summer filled the air with music, dances under the open sky. Autumn carried harvests rich and golden, and winter drew them closer to the hearth where stories of gods and heroes passed softly from lip to ear. Theirs was a world alive with color, kindness, and rhythm, a civilization that flourished in peace. But nature, beautiful and wild, has moods of her own. Beneath the calm blue sea, something ancient stirred. On the nearby island of Thera, now called Santorini, the earth began to tremble. The mountain that had slept for centuries awoke with fire. The sky filled with ash and light, and the sea roared in answer. The eruption came not as fury, but as inevitability, a breath of the planet itself. The waves rose high, higher still, and swept across the sea. The Minoan ports, once full of ships, vanished beneath the foam. The palaces trembled, the paintings cracked, the sunlight dimmed beneath the drifting clouds, and when the sea grew quiet again, silence remained. The Minoans endured for a time, rebuilding, replanting, hoping. But the land had changed, and so had the world around them. The balance that had held for centuries was gone. Slowly, gently, their civilization faded into the mist of history. Yet from that mist another people emerged, the Mycenaeans. Across the narrow sea on the Greek mainland, they built their citadels of stone. Where the Minoans had painted grace, the Mycenaeans carved strength. They were the inheritors of both beauty and ambition, of art and arms. Imagine now the hill of Mycenae rising before you, its great walls glowing gold beneath the afternoon sun. The Lion Gate stands tall, two beasts carved in stone guarding an entrance that has watched the centuries pass. Beyond it, a maze of halls and storerooms spreads out, each chamber echoing with footsteps from long ago. Here, kings ruled who dreamed of glory, of trade, of stories, of legends that would one day become myth. Their artisans shaped gold into delicate masks and cups. Their poets sang of journeys and battles, of love and loss. They listened to the old songs of the Minoans and they carried them forward, transforming harmony into strength and beauty into memory. Still, even in their might, the Mycenaeans were touched by the same quiet truth that reaches all things, that every empire, no matter how bright, is a ripple in the sea of time. Their cities too would one day fall silent, their walls would crumble, their kings would fade into legend, and the songs they left behind would echo faintly, blending into the soft hum of the earth. Now, as you breathe slowly, imagine the sea between Crete and Greece, calm once more beneath the stars. The islands lie quiet. The ruins sleep under moonlight. Waves move gently across the stones of forgotten harbors. The air is cool, touched with salt and memory. Somewhere, the voice of a nightbird calls, then fades. The past and the present become one, both bathed in silver, both still. The Minoans and the Mycenaeans did not vanish completely. Their spirit lingers in the whispers of myth, in the shapes of columns that still rise in temples, in the patterns of waves painted on ancient pottery. Their story lives in the rhythm of civilization itself, creation, change, and return. Like the tide, it flows forward, then back again, never ending, only transforming. Close your eyes and feel the warmth of the Mediterranean sun fade into twilight. The sea breathes against the shore, slow and even. The wind carries the faint scent of wild herbs and distant rain. The world is quiet now. No ships, no voices, only the eternal rhythm of the waves. You stand at the edge of history, where land meets sea, where one age flows gently into another. The air hums softly, filled with the echoes of what once was. Laughter in marble halls, the crash of surf against stone, the faint song of a flute carried on the wind. The empire in the mist remains, not in power or walls, but in peace. The Minoans and Mycenaeans rest beneath layers of time, their stories blending into dreams. Their palaces are now homes for wildflowers, their harbors cradled by quiet tides. The mist rises, drifts, and settles again, wrapping everything in calm. And as you breathe, you are part of that calm. The same sun that shone on Knossos now warms your heart. The same stars that guided Mycenaean sailors now shimmer above you. The same sea that carried their ships now cradles your thoughts. Everything returns. the past into the present, the breath into the wind, the wave into the shore. There is no ending, only stillness. The sea hums softly, the mist thickens, and the island sleeps beneath its veil. The empire may be gone, but its peace remains. Quiet, patient, eternal. Let yourself drift now as the waves once carried those ancient sailors. Let your mind float between light and shadow, between memory and dream. The sound of the ocean becomes your breath. The rhythm of the earth becomes your heartbeat. The mist folds around you like a soft embrace. Sleep, traveler of time. The palaces of Crete glow faintly in your dreams, their halls filled once more with color and song. The ships of Mycenae drift across a starlit sea. The world is at rest. You are at rest. The past watches gently, its eyes kind and eternal. The empire in the mist has never truly vanished. It lives in every quiet moment, in every breath of wind that carries the scent of the sea. And as you close your eyes, it welcomes you into its calm, into its beauty, into its endless peace. Land and wind. The Nabatean kingdom. The desert stretches endlessly beneath the golden light. The wind moves across the dunes in long, sighing breaths, shaping the sand into waves that shimmer beneath the sun. Far to the south, where the mountains rise from the earth like sleeping giants, a city sleeps in stone. Its walls glow pink and red at dawn, as if they still hold the warmth of centuries. This is Petra, the city carved from rock, the heart of the Nabatean kingdom. When you first see it, it feels like a dream caught between sunlight and shadow. The narrow canyon that leads there winds through cliffs of rose-colored sandstone, the walls towering so high that the sky becomes a thin ribbon above your head. The air is cool and still, scented faintly with dust and stone. Then suddenly the path opens wide and there it stands, the treasury, carved in perfect symmetry, its pillars and statues gleaming like gold beneath the morning light. The people who built this place were masters of patience and vision. The Nabateans, travelers and traders of the desert, found beauty where others saw only emptiness. They shaped their world from what the earth offered, from wind, from sand, from stone. In a land where water was life, they learned to listen to the desert's quiet wisdom. They carved channels through rock, built hidden cisterns beneath the hills, and caught the rain that fell only for moments each year. Every drop mattered, every breeze carried meaning. Imagine walking their streets long ago. The air hums softly, warm against your skin. Merchants speak in low voices, their stalls filled with spices, glass, and silk brought from faraway lands. The scent of frankincense drifts through the market. Camels rest in the shade, their bells chiming softly in the breeze. Above the city, the sandstone cliffs glow deep red, shifting in color as the sun arcs across the sky. Petra was not built for kings or conquest, but for connection. The Nabateans were people of trade, gentle weavers of the world's paths. Their caravans crossed the desert like moving constellations, carrying perfumes from Arabia, silk from China, gold from Egypt, and stories from every corner of the known world. They moved not with haste, but with rhythm, guided by the stars and the breath of the wind. Their knowledge of water and stone turned the impossible into art. Channels hidden in the walls carried rain from the mountains to the heart of the city. Cisterns carved deep into the rock held cool, clear water through the burning months. Gardens bloomed where once there was only sand. The Nabateans lived with the desert, not against it, learning to read its moods, its silences, its patience. Close your eyes and listen to the wind as it passes through the canyons. It carries echoes of that time. The distant laughter of children, the soft rhythm of sandals on stone, the quiet murmur of life unfolding gently in the heat. The sound of the desert is not emptiness. It is stillness. It invites you to slow your breath, to let your thoughts drift like grains of sand carried by the breeze. At sunset, the city becomes a living flame. The rock burns with color, crimson, amber, gold. Shadows stretch long across the ground, soft and deep. The air cools and the first stars appear, faint and patient. The people light their lamps, and the glow of hundreds of small fires flickers against the walls. The scent of smoke and spice fills the air. In the distance, the desert whispers, eternal and calm. The Nabateans built their homes not just for shelter, but for silence. Places to listen to the heartbeat of the earth. Their temples open to the wind, their altars to the sky. They believed the world itself was alive, that the stones, the sand, and the stars were all part of one great breath. And in that belief, they found peace. But even the strongest stone softens beneath time. The winds shifted. The great trade routes, once full of caravans and travelers, began to change. New paths opened to the sea, and the desert roads grew quiet. The rains came less often. The cisterns ran low. One by one, the people drifted away, not in fear, but with the calm acceptance of those who understand that everything moves in cycles. Petra did not fall. It simply exhaled, slowly, into stillness. The markets emptied, the lamps were extinguished, the voices faded, and the desert, patient and kind, took the city back into its arms. Sand crept into the courtyards. The wind smoothed the carvings. The sun touched the stone until it glowed like memory. The Nabateans became part of the landscape they loved, their presence lingering in every line and curve, in every shadow cast by the canyon walls. Now when the wind moves through the sick, the narrow gorge that guards the city, it hums like the echo of a song too old to name. The statues still stand, their faces calm and unbroken. The treasury still gleams at dawn, catching the same light that once shone on a bustling world. The city sleeps, but it dreams. Close your eyes and breathe in its rhythm. The air here feels sacred, dry, warm, filled with silence that is never empty. The desert stretches outward in every direction, endless and soft. The sky deepens into indigo, the stars shimmering like fine dust scattered across the heavens. In this vast stillness you feel your thoughts dissolve. The noise of the world fades, leaving only the slow pulse of wind and earth. You can almost hear the faint steps of travelers returning home, their silhouettes fading into the horizon. You can feel the heat of the day still lingering on the stones, the cool promise of night descending gently. The world feels ancient and infinite, yet kind. A place that asks for nothing, gives everything, and keeps only peace. The Nabateans did not vanish, they became part of this quiet. Their knowledge lives in the pathways carved through rock, in the water systems that still catch the rain, in the still beauty of Petra itself. They left behind not ruins, but remembrance, a song written in stone, sung by the desert wind. As you lie here now, let that song fill your mind. Feel the rhythm of the dunes, the steady breath of the earth beneath you. Let the warmth of the desert sun fade into the coolness of twilight. The world outside this moment falls away, leaving only the hush of wind and the weightless calm of history resting gently upon your skin. The desert hums softly, timeless and vast. The stars blink slowly, their light crossing centuries to reach you. The stone city glows faintly in their reflection, patient and eternal. And you, small, peaceful, breathing, are part of the same stillness. Sleep, traveler. The sand will guard your dreams, the wind will carry your thoughts to rest. The city in stone will watch over you as it has watched over the ages. The desert keeps its promises. Nothing is lost. Everything returns to quiet. Beneath the moonlight, Petra breathes once more, not in noise or fire, but in silence and grace. The red rock gleams like the heart of the earth itself. The wind sighs softly through the canyons. The world turns slowly, wrapped in calm. And as the night deepens, the city, the sand, and your breath become one. Still, endless, and at peace. Beneath the sand, Egypt and the silent dynasties. The desert glows softly beneath the moon. Waves of sand stretch endlessly, silver under the night sky. The air is still, warm and dry, filled with a silence so deep it feels like eternity itself is breathing. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the dunes and shadows, great triangles rise from the earth, their outlines faint against the stars. The pyramids, guardians of a world long asleep. Here, in this land where time slows to a whisper, everything feels suspended. The stars shimmer above as they did thousands of years ago. The Nile flows patiently through the darkness, carrying memories in its quiet current. The wind moves through the desert, reshaping the dunes, carrying grains of sand that once touched the stones of temples and tombs. Egypt, with the kingdom of stone and silence, still listens, still waits. Long ago, this desert was not silent. It was alive with voices, footsteps, and song. Along the banks of the Nile, the first light of dawn would reveal a world both delicate and eternal. Farmers bent over the fields, drawing life from the dark soil. Boats glided along the river, their sails catching the morning wind. From the cities came the murmur of craftsmen, the laughter of children, the steady rhythm of life. And above them all, the sun, golden, eternal, rose each day over the same horizon, blessing the same earth. The Egyptians built their world to honor time itself. They understood the rhythm of beginnings and endings, of birth and return. They carved their dreams into stone so that nothing, not even the wind, could erase them. In temples of towering columns and painted walls, they wrote prayers to the rising sun and to the setting stars. Their hands shaped eternity, not for power, but for remembrance. Imagine walking through one of those temples at dawn. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of incense. Columns rise like trees, their tops blossoming with carved lotus petals. Light slips between the walls, golden and soft, falling across hieroglyphs that speak of love, of gods, of endless cycles. Somewhere, water drips in a slow rhythm, echoing through the quiet hall. You place your hand upon the stone. It is warm, alive, humming softly with the memory of centuries. Beyond the temples, the desert stretches toward the pyramids, those vast, patient shapes that have watched more dawns than any living creature. They stand where the sand meets the sky, their tips glowing in the morning light. The people who built them are gone, but their presence remains in every block, every line, every shadow. Each stone carries a heartbeat from the past, steady and calm. The builders of Egypt knew the language of the earth. They followed the rhythm of the river, planting when it rose, resting when it fell. They studied the stars and saw in their slow, perfect movements the same pattern that guided their own lives. They believed that death was not an ending, but a return, a passage through time, a quiet continuation. To them, the desert was not emptiness, it was the horizon of the soul. As you breathe now, slow and steady, imagine the Nile moving beside you, silent, dark, eternal. Its waters reflect the moonlight like polished glass. Along its edge, reeds sway gently in the night breeze. Somewhere far off, a heron lifts into the sky, its wings whispering over the water. The sound fades into the stillness. The kings and queens of Egypt once ruled from palaces along this river. Their names are carved into stone, their faces painted on walls deep within the tombs of the Valley of the Kings. But listen closely. There is no arrogance in their silence, only peace. They believed they were caretakers of a divine balance, not owners of it. The temples, the tombs, the monuments, they were not built to defy time, but to join it. Over centuries, dynasties rose and fell like the river's tide. Pharaohs ruled, then faded into legend. The sand drifted across the stones, covering temples, hiding doorways, sealing secrets. The world changed, but Egypt did not protest. It simply rested, breathing beneath its golden blanket, waiting for the curious hands of time to uncover it once more. Then after thousands of years, the desert began to whisper again. Explorers came, their hearts full of wonder, brushing the sand from carved walls and painted faces. The sun revealed what had slept so long, colors still bright, words still clear, eyes still watching. The world rediscovered what had never truly been lost. Egypt had not died, it had only been dreaming. Close your eyes. Feel the warmth of the desert on your skin, the soft breath of wind passing through the dunes. The air hums with quiet power, the same energy that once filled temples and tombs. Beneath the sand, the past stirs gently, not as a ghost, but as a song of endurance. You can almost hear it, the rhythm of chisels on stone, the low chant of builders, the steady heartbeat of a civilization that trusted in the eternal. The sun sinks behind the horizon, and the desert turns to silver. The pyramids glow faintly beneath the stars. The Nile becomes a ribbon of light winding through the darkness. Somewhere far away, a jackal calls, its cry echoing across the valley. The sound fades into the wind, into the silence that has no end. Egypt remains, not in noise or motion, but in stillness. It is a place where the soul can rest, where the breath of eternity feels close enough to touch. The statues, the temples, the tombs, all are quiet now, but within that quiet lies the hum of something infinite. The ancients believed the heart must be lighter than a feather to pass into peace. And in this moment, as you breathe, you understand the peace is not far away. It is here, in the rhythm of the earth, in the whisper of sand against stone, in the steady flow of time. Let the desert cradle your thoughts. Let the wind carry away the noise of the world. You are standing at the edge of eternity, where everything is both ancient and new. The stars above you burn with the same light that shone upon the builders of the pyramids. The sand beneath you has touched their footprints. You are part of the same story, the same slow unfolding of time. Sleep comes gently here, like the setting of the sun. The desert exhales, the river sighs, and the pyramids stand watch, not as monuments to power, but as guardians of dreams. Egypt, beneath its blanket of sand, still breathes softly. Its heart beats in the rhythm of wind and stone, of water and silence. As you drift into rest, imagine the golden light of morning returning once more, the first rays touching the red cliffs, the statues glowing, the temples awakening. The world turns, patient and kind. Time flows, steady as the Nile, and all that has been remains, sleeping but alive beneath the endless desert sky. The sands shift, the wind hums, the stars burn quietly above, and you, wrapped in calm, become part of it all. The ancient peace, the eternal silence, the gentle heartbeat of history, still breathing beneath the sand. The Lost City, Cahokia and the Mississippians. The night rests over the great plains, soft and wide. A mist drifts low across the grass, carrying the scent of earth and river. The air hums with quiet warmth, and the stars above gleam faintly, like embers scattered across an endless sky. Somewhere near the horizon, beyond the gentle curve of the Mississippi, lies a memory. A city once alive with footsteps, voices and dreams. Now it sleeps beneath the soil, wrapped in silence and time. This was Cahokia, the city of the Mississippians, a place built not of stone or iron, but of earth and sky. It rose from the flatlands like a dream, shaped by human hands, its great mounds reaching toward the heavens, its open plazas shimmering in the golden light of dawn. It was once the heart of a world, a gathering place for thousands, a center of trade, of worship, and of peace. Imagine the river as it once was, wide and slow, its surface gleaming beneath the morning sun. Along its banks, canoes glide through the mist, their paddles dipping silently into the water. The air smells of smoke and wet earth. Birds wheel overhead, calling softly to one another. As the mist lifts, the city appears, a vast expanse of earthworks, homes and fields, each one breathing with life. At the center of it all stands Monk's Mound, a mountain of earth shaped by countless hands. It rises gently, its flat summit touching the sky. From above you could see the city spread out like a living pattern. Wide plazas, straight avenues, clusters of wooden homes, each one built with care and purpose. Beyond them, fields of corn and squash stretch toward the horizon, their leaves whispering in the wind. The people who lived here were close to the land. They listened to the seasons, to the river's pulse, to the rhythm of rain. Their hands turned soil into shelter, clay into vessels, and dreams into ritual. Every mound they built was more than a monument. It was a prayer, a meeting between earth and heaven. In the mornings, the air shimmered with mist and song. Women wove baskets from reeds along the water's edge. Children ran barefoot through the grass. Traders arrived from distant lands, their canoes filled with shells, copper, and obsidian. The city thrived on exchange, not only of goods, but of stories, of songs of quiet understanding. As the sun climbed higher, the plazas filled with people. The air buzzed softly with movement and laughter. Drums echoed across the open space, slow and steady like a heartbeat. Ceremonies unfolded in the gentle light, honoring the river, the harvest, the sky. There was no rush, no clamor, only rhythm, flow, and grace. The Mississippians lived within that rhythm. They built their lives around cycles: the turning of the sun, the rise of the moon, the flood and retreat of the river. They believed that all things were connected. The soil beneath their feet, the stars above, the wind between them. Their world was balanced, and within that balance, they found peace. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing at the edge of Cahokia's great plaza at dusk. The last light of the day lingers on the mounds, turning them gold. The air cools, carrying the scent of wood smoke and river reeds. A heron crosses the horizon, its wings slow and graceful. In the distance, a drum begins again, deep, steady, eternal. Night comes softly to this world. Fires flicker, their glow reflecting off faces turned toward the stars. The people speak in quiet tones, their words rising like smoke into the darkness. Overhead, the constellations turn, the same stars that still shine above us now. The city, vast and alive, hums with life, yet feels deeply calm, as if it already understands that nothing lasts forever, and that this too will one day become silence. Time moved gently here, but even the gentlest rivers change their course. Seasons shifted. The rains came heavy, then not at all. The river flooded its banks, then shrank away, leaving the fields dry. The rhythms that had sustained them began to waver. The people watched the sky, the soil, the water. They listened as they always had, and they understood that the balance was changing. No armies came, no battles thundered. There was no sound of destruction, no blaze of fire. Instead, the city began to empty as quietly as it had filled. Families drifted away, following the rivers to new lands, seeking what the earth could no longer give. The plazas grew silent. The fires went out. The grass began to grow tall where the children once ran. The mounds remained, soft shapes rising from the plain, catching the morning sun. Rain smoothed their edges. The wind laid its hand upon them. Slowly, the forest crept closer, wrapping the city in green. And the songs of the Mississippians became whispers carried on the breeze, the language of the earth returning to itself. Now, centuries later, the land has reclaimed what was once its own. The mounds lie quiet beneath the sky, home to grasses and wildflowers. Deer move through the trees. The river still winds past, slow and endless. If you stand there at dawn when the mist rises from the ground, you might almost see it, the faint outlines of the city beneath the veil of morning. The past breathes softly through the soil, not as sorrow, but as peace. Cahokia did not vanish in loss. It returned to silence. It became one with the land it once shaped. Its story remains in the soil, in the wind, in the steady hum of the river. It teaches, without words, that all things, even the greatest of cities, are but part of a larger rhythm, to rise, to flourish, to fade, and to rest. As you breathe now, feel that rhythm move through you. Inhale the calm of the plains. Exhale the weight of time. The night is vast, the stars patient, the earth kind. The city beneath your feet still sleeps, but its dreams are wide as the sky. Listen as the wind moves across the grass, gentle as breath. It carries the memory of drums, of laughter, of quiet hands shaping the earth. It whispers of lives once lived in harmony with the world. The sound is soft, steady, eternal. It asks for nothing, offers everything. A reminder that peace is not something lost, but something that always waits beneath the noise. Sleep comes like the river, slow, cool, inevitable. The mounds fade into shadow, the stars drift higher, and the night wraps around you like silk. The world becomes still again, resting in the quiet pulse of its own heartbeat. The lost city remains, not in ruins, but in peace. Its spirit flows with the wind, hums with the river, glows beneath the moonlight. And you too are part of that flow, gentle, timeless, unburdened. The mist thickens, the earth breathes, the stars hold steady above the dark plain. Somewhere beneath the soil, the city dreams, and through that dream, the world remembers how to rest. The flow continues. The night has deepened. The world outside is quiet now, the air still, the stars patient, the earth breathing softly beneath their glow. The stories have been told, their echoes fading gently into the dark. The ancient cities rest beneath layers of sand and soil. The rivers sleep. The wind drifts lightly over the mountains and plains. Everything is calm, and you are here, safe, still, and warm within the arms of time. Every civilization that has ever been, every hand that has ever built or written or dreamed, has left something behind. Not in stone alone, but in the quiet rhythm of existence. In the way the waves meet the shore, in the curve of the moon, in the breath of the wind. Nothing is truly gone. It only changes form, softening, merging, returning to the flow of the world. The Minoans, the Maya, the Sumerians, the Nabateans, they were all part of this same song. They rose with the sun and faded with the dusk, their days stretching like ripples across the sea of time. And though their voices are no longer heard, the world still hums with their presence. The fields they once walked bloom again. The stars they watched still shine. The rivers they crossed still wind through the earth, carrying echoes of their reflection. Close your eyes and imagine that quiet continuum, the slow heartbeat of history moving beneath the surface of the world. It does not rush. It does not sleep. It flows gently, endlessly, like the tide. Every moment, every life, every dream becomes part of that movement, a current of memory, carrying us all toward the same calm sea. Perhaps in the hush of night, you can hear it. The faint whisper of the ages, the distant sigh of forgotten lands. It is not sorrowful. It is not haunting. It is simply the sound of being, of change, of return. Time does not steal, it soothes, it gathers, it carries everything home. The ancient civilizations we spoke of did not vanish into emptiness. They folded softly into the world like leaves settling upon the earth. Their temples became mountains, their roads became rivers. Their names became the hum of the wind. They are still here, in ways we cannot always see, in the patience of stone, in the rhythm of rain, in the quiet persistence of dawn. Every ending is only a deep breath between chapters. The world turns and new hands rise to build, to dream, to love, and to rest. What once was becomes what will be, again and again. Time is not a straight path, but a circle, wide and kind. The night stretches endlessly, and within it, all things find rest. The stars above are older than memory, yet they burn with the same quiet certainty they always have. Look up, even just in your mind, and see them. Thousands of points of light, each one a witness to the rise and fall of worlds, each one carrying a fragment of every dawn, every story, every heartbeat that has ever been. You are part of that too. You are a moment in the same current, a flicker of consciousness moving gently within eternity. And just like the empires that came before, your story will find its place in the vast, tender silence of time. There is peace in knowing this. There is no rush to matter, no need to cling. The world remembers, not through monuments or noise, but through harmony. Through the soft balance between what was and what is. Through the flow that continues long after the last word has been spoken. Now imagine standing upon the edge of a desert at twilight. The sand glows faintly in the fading light. The horizon stretches without end, its colors melting into one another. Gold to rose, rose to violet, violet to night. The air is still, the temperature falling, the first stars appearing like tiny lanterns above. You breathe in deeply, and the air feels ancient, as though it carries the memories of everything that ever lived. The wind moves, slow and warm, tracing across your face. It carries the scent of earth and distance, of places once filled with life and laughter. You feel no sadness, only calm, the soft understanding that nothing ever truly disappears. The land sleeps, but it dreams. The same dream that the rivers dream, that the forests whisper, that the stars hum as they drift through the sky. The civilizations that once thrived beneath these stars were not lost. They simply became part of this greater stillness. Their hearts beat within the rhythm of the world. Their dreams folded into the same silence that now cradles you. And just as they rested, so too can you. Breathe slowly, in and out. The air moves through you like the tide against the shore. Your thoughts drift like clouds dissolving in the wind. The weight of the day falls away. The world narrows to the sound of your own breathing, to the warmth of your body sinking into the present moment. History continues to flow, gently, quietly, endlessly. The sands shift, the rivers turn, the stars cross the night. Civilizations rise, fade, and return, all within the same great pulse of time. There is no loss, only transformation. There is no final silence, only the pause between heartbeats. Somewhere beneath the soil, the roots of memory entwine. Stones hold the warmth of suns that rose thousands of years ago. The water that touches your lips tonight may have once passed through the hands of an ancient farmer by the Nile, or fallen as rain upon the temples of the Maya, or soaked the fields around Cahokia. The world remembers through its elements, through the eternal exchange between life and rest. The flow continues, it always has, it always will. As the night deepens, let that truth become your comfort. Let it wash through you like cool water. You are not separate from history, you are part of its breath. You are one note in the great song of existence, soft, fleeting, perfect in its smallness. The same peace that fills the deserts, the jungles, the plains, and the rivers fills you too. The civilizations of the past sleep beneath the stars, and tonight you join them in rest. Not in endings, but in stillness. Not in forgetting, but in belonging. The earth beneath you hums gently. The air moves through the open window. The night holds you in its quiet arms. The flow continues, always calm, always kind, always returning home. So now close your eyes. The sands of time drift slowly through your thoughts. The stars dim. The world hushes itself. You are safe. You are whole. You are part of something endless. Sleep, traveler of ages. The stories have been told. The voices have quieted. History hums softly beneath the surface of the world, carrying you into dreams. Everything rests now, the earth, the sky, the memories of those who came before. And in this great stillness, you too may rest. For nothing is ever truly lost. The flow continues, gentle as breath, endless as time.